Our tour for Slave to the Grind went from March '91 to January '93, and we wanted to take a little time off after that, just make sure we had the best material possible. So we took about 6 months off after that and started writing, in the middle of '93, and had about 20 tunes by October 1st, '94, which is when we started recording. So we really didn't take that much time off. When you're in a band that tours 22 months on an album, that's a long time to tour.
But I ain't at the end of my rope. Won't be the one left behind. You can't be a king of the world and slave to the grind.
You can count on one hand the amount of bands that started in '86 that have the same 5 guys in them in '95. There's very few. And that's because when you're touring for a long time, we're like, me and Rachel are this close for like 22 months. And anybody that goes through that amount of time together, you get in each other's nerves. It's only natural.
Good God, rest my soul. The effects of rock and roll. You wait and see. Écoutez. Yes, say more, say more.
We don't write for radio. We don't write for MTV. We just write for us, and then hopefully everyone else likes it. And the strange thing is, in America, at the height of grunge and the height of alternative music, and the 2 years we've been off the road, 2.5 years, we still managed to sell almost 300,000 records.
You know how the most American bands will come over to Europe and do a promotional tour and not play. They'll come over and say our album's out. We aren't interested in doing that. We leave our houses. If we leave our houses, we're gonna play. That's why we do it.
So I've been waiting a long fucking time to say one more time, Paris, here I am, closet. Hey, 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 hey.
We haven't put out a record since '92, which was Beside Ourselves. And before that, we put out Slave to the Grind in '91. And before that, we put out our first album in January '89. And nobody could have ever told us the success that we'd achieve around the world. We've sold over 10 million records. And so when you get to that point, it kind of reaffirms to yourself that your musical instincts are good. And when we like something that we write, usually the people that like Skid Row like it too.
Yes, salut, Perry! You wanna come up on the stage and get a piece of me?
With this record, I think we challenged ourselves to just avoid the obvious. We didn't want to come out with the same record we did, 3 years ago or 6 years ago or however long it was. We got a different producer. We got Bob Rock to make things a little different. We went right from the onset of songwriting. If we were going to go left, we went right. If we were going to go right, we went left. That was the only conscious effort we ever made to really experiment,
The box I keep myself here goes inside my ear. So I build a fire so I can stick and stay.
Well, we took Pantera on the road for 6 months on the Vulgar Display of Vulgar
Display of Power.
Yeah. And we took Soundgarden for 2 months. So I think Pantera and Soundgarden are pretty indicative of what you're talking about. And if, they would open up for Skid Row, I think that says what Skid Row is.
You let me incomplete, all alone in the memories now.
I think our primary message is to come to the show and have a good time and forget about all the negative stuff in your life, Like when you leave our show, you feel exhilarated. You feel, energized and not depressed.